Hello ladies and gentlemen, today I will explain you the ship classes, not the ship types, the ship classes like Corvette, Frigate, Destroyer, Cruiser, Battlecruiser, Battleship. Then we come to the Dreadnought and the Carrier and the Faxes, then we have Super Capitals and Titans. That's the military line. On the industrial line we have also some ships, but let's first start with the usual stuff. So, how we do it? I will first go through the classes without any deep diving or something, and then we do for each class kind of a deep dive and see how far we go. So, we have first of all your Capsule. That thingy you spawns in, I don't think I explained that. So then we come to the Corvette. That's the ship you always get from your starting faction. There are 4, there are special ones, blah blah blah. They are like the beginner ship, blah. Then we have the Frigates. The Frigates are, just Eve says, yeah, small, fast, fragile vessels. They are actually, they are the fastest ships you can have on the standard size. From there we go to destroyers. They are more designed for like class cannons. Yes, class cannons. Destroyers are class cannons. Then we have the cruisers. That's a little bit more bunch EHP than the other ships we saw, or classes. And they have more firepower, also more HP, more firepower. That is it. So then we come to the Battlecruiser. One ship class up means more EHP, also more life points, also more damage. And here they come with something special. They provide a fleet bonus also in the T1 version. So you can have a link and boost your friends with like 20% of something. It's really good. It's a very nice fleet multiplier. Awesome. So, then we come to the battleships. That's the powerhouse of Eve. That's the one which have massive tank, do massive damage. And probably you guessed it, as bigger your guns get, as harder as it is to hit the smaller stuff. Vice versa, smaller stuff are hitting bigger stuff easier. So, from there we come to the capitals, which tend to, no, you come to the capitals. Huge ships, massive guns, massive damage, devastating on every battlefield. Awesome. There's a Navy version, more tank, some specialties. Then we have the T2 version, but you know, wait, sorry, it's back. Oh no, I want to go in. So, then we have the carriers right here. They have the ability with the fighters, and they are the one which can super lock long range. And we have the faxes, bigger healers, also T1 version. And then we have the titans, so the big ones which purge you, which can delete a capital by just blinking an eye on it, and then it dies, called Doomsday. So that's the military line. We had, as you saw, there's like Navy versions, T2 versions, and T3 versions, but I don't want to start with that. So now we come to the hauling line, or like kind of industrial. We have the shuttle for traveling. There's a lot of shuttles. They actually cannot shoot, so they're only for traveling, and they're immune to bubbles. We have the haulers, which, if you see, Galanta only has 2. If you go to the Galanta factions, they have multiple with different roles. There is a T2 version. There is, of course, also an industrial capital version to transport stuff. And we have faction-wise Edencom, which started with a hauler line and a freighter, and of course same section, industrial line, we have mining ships, so frigates. Barges are in the size of a cruiser, I think. They have a T2 version, and here we also have the fleet boosting ships, like the also hauler size. So this one is Subcapital, the Noctis. goes into the subcapital porpoise and the capital orca, or the a niche thingy, but actually it's in the size of a capital. And we have the Rockwell, which is a capital designed for mining, and there is the Bowhead, which is also a big capital industrial ship which can allow you to transport fitted ships. So there's a lot of information. First, you see different classes, different sizes. Usually you need from the smaller sizes a lot more to kill something in a bigger size, and depending on how you fit, one size or the two sizes up can easily kill the smaller sizes. But let's hop into like a little bit more explaining of the ship classes. So we start with frigates. Frigates, beside the cruisers, have the most options in the specialization. So first of all, you have Navy frigates. Let's start here with damage, EVOR, and exploration. And from there, you see this small thingy Omega here. You start into the T2 section, which specialize your frigate into a specific role. For example, the Interceptor class. Wait, let me show. Oh god, the stop sock robot is starting. So, as said, the frigates go into specific specialized roles. We start from the top. As course of every T2, there is a T1 alternative variant in the bottom, but the frigates specialize in logistics, so healing, EWAR, you name it. Covert Ops is split into scanning and bombers. Then we have the assault frigate, so that's the beefy variant of a tackle ship, and we have the interceptor, that's the super fast variant of a tackle ship. That's to the frigate classes. Let's head over to the destroyers. Destroyers, same thing. You have T1, you have a Navy version, which is a little bit more beefy, does more damage, and then we come to the specialization. We start top, and then go to the bottom. The tactical destroyer is a T3 version, which has like 3 modes you can use. So it's there's a tank one, a DPS mode, and here I fly super fast mode. And yeah, that's the T2 destroyer. So a lot of damage, different modes, can be tanky, not a class cannon, can be a class cannon, blah blah blah, you name it. Then we have the command destroyer. That's the, as you know from the Battlecruisers, they have a command link. The command destroyers are the specialized version, which also can do that in a smaller variant. Not as effective as a Battlecruiser or a command ship, but still that's the first entry for supporting your fleet with like links. And then we come to the specialized class of the interdictor. This one makes bubbles or wobbles. Bubbles prevent the enemy fleet from warping off. Can be used as protection, blah blah blah, you name it, but this one actually can deploy a bubble which then disallow warping. That's the only ship in this size which can do that. And as said, it's a destroyer, so also these ships have a huge amount of DPS, and in this T2 variant they're also kind of tanky. So then we head over to cruisers. Same cruisers here as the frigates. They are very specialized, and everything you see in the top we have on the bottom, except for the T3. There is no T1 variant, but you guessed it, it's T3, T2, blah blah blah. So let's start from the bottom. The T3 strategic cruisers come with different kind of modules, so you can do whatever you want to have. You can make them shoot missiles, you can make them scanning, you can specialize them in cloaking, whatever you want. They can be specialized to your needs. That's not the same variant as the tactical destroyer. This one have different modes, and this one can be fitted to your different needs. And also you can unplug and replug the rigs as you want it, so you can actually have a nomadic something and have a travel mode and then a PvP mode, and you just need to have a mobile depot and refit. Easy. That's to the strategic cruiser, a very specialized ship, highly recommended, a lot of fun. Then we come to the logistic cruiser. Of course, there is a T1 variant and there is a T2 variant. So the T2 variant, more resistance, more buffer, more reps, specialized on it, so it just does the job better. Then we have the heavy interdiction cruiser. This one is the bigger variant, or the bigger brother of the interdictor, and this one has actually a module in the high slot which allows you to unscripted have a bubble up, and then it moves around you, so you can travel the bubble and be with the enemy fleet or with your fleet and be protecting. But you also can have it scripted, so you can say, oh, I want to have a very long point in my highs, or I want to have a 20 kilometer scram and disallow you to enable your MVD, which is longer than on the interceptors. So then we come to the heavy assault cruisers. You guessed it, assault frigate, heavy assault cruiser. That's the heavy tanky DPS cruiser variant we have, which we can use. And that's it. Like, there's nothing more to explain. Heavy DPS, heavy tank, that's what you want. Then we come to the recon ships. These are the EWAR cruisers specialized. Keep in mind that every faction has their own preferred bonus EWAR. And you have two of them. They're both specialized. The one is not, you cannot see on D-scan, and the other one is the covered ops variant, which can light sinos. So let's do the cruisers. Like the custom one, a healer, a heavy version which disallows enemy fleet to warp off or as protection, heavy DPS, heavy tank, and then we have the T2 specialized EVO variant on the cruisers called recon ships. So let's head over to the battle cruisers. You see that we now come to a section where we get less ships as an option, but they are not less important. They are like really important. So battle cruisers, as said, they have this thingy with the command link. They have a navy version, which is usually a little bit more tanky, has some niche, unique specialization, and does more DPS. And then we have the T2 version, which is the powerhouse of links. So if you want to have the max links in your fleet, you have one of these fitted with the right bonuses to the right command burst, and you get the bonus you want. Huge area, I think 60-50 kilometers, depending on the mind links, on your skills. Very important for bigger fleets, usually a heavy tank, less DPS. In small gang they can also have a lot of DPS and an AT as well. Nighthawk is like 1k assault, so yeah. That's to the battle cruisers. Now we come to the battleships. There's the T1 versions. They all have like a different kind of bonus to the weapon. The Navy version is like the more tanky version. Same, sticks to the same area. It does more damage. Has maybe a little bit different slot layout or a little bit more. And from there we have like two alternative versions. The Marauder. That's the idea of a battleship which has a massive tank, massive DPS, and that's what the kind idea of a battleship is. I tank this and I do a lot of damage. And then we have the alternative version, which is a Black Ops. So you remember the bombers and the scanning stuff and a little bit about the sinos and so on. This one is actually the ship which can cloak, does a massive DPS, and you drop on somebody which should die fast. And then you just cloak, warp off, and nobody can touch you. And then you just jump out to your out sino and you are safe. So you dropping 2-3 build ship, have 20 seconds of fun time, and then everybody cloaks and chuggles, and then the micro jumps or warps off, and then you rinse and repeat. That's the Black Ops. Very nice ships. So from there, Dreadnoughts. Dreadnoughts are the DPS ship in the game. They can shoot the sub-capital ones, so everything on the left side with the right guns, but they also can shoot everything on the top side with the right guns. The Navy version, of course, comes with more EHP, a little bit different slot layout, and a lot of more damage. Sorry. From there we have the Lancers, which is the T2 version. They have the mini Doomsday, which disallow the enemy fleet warping off, and also they reduce the resistance and healing capacity. So if you hit the enemy fleet with a lance, this can be a devastating strike. So from there we have another backbone. So you saw that there is only like cruiser size logistics. So the next step up would be the Nestor, which is a battleship for armor. We don't have one for shield, so therefore we need to drop a fax in the carrier skill class. And a fax is a capital healer, which has capital heals and a specialized module to get into like a triage mode, which allows him to even heal more, but also is unable to move, warp off, etc. blah blah, and also receive heals, so he's totally on his own. From there you have the two carrier types, the Archon, which is the smaller version, and the Ion or the super capital. The carrier, as is named, it's a carrier platform, so you can launch fighters which have a huge amount of DPS and can be sent over the whole battlefield. The super carrier is the bigger version of it, and it can launch heavy fighters, which does a lot more DPS. And actually the Dreadnought has more DPS than a carrier. A super carrier has more DPS than a Dreadnought, a Navy Dreadnought, and a carrier combined. Except for the Sinatra, that's a little bit different, but that's the Triglavian one. They also have capitals, so each faction, blah blah blah. And then we have the biggest ship, which is the Titan, which you can jump, and it's also the capital killer as said. And that's the different ship types we have here on the military side, on the T2 faction and T2 T1 version. So keep in mind, if you fly something and you see, for example, here the Mauler, there is an T2 version up here which is called the Sacrilege. The Mauler is shooting with medium energy turrets. The Sacrilege is specialized on heavy, also on missiles. There is a swapping because of the specialization, but you also see that the bonus of armor resistance is kept the same, so there was at 4%, in the both here it's 5%, and additional to that the T2 hull always gets additional bonus, but that's very deep knowledge. So yeah, I marked that 17 minutes, that this is we go into a little bit of a deep dive. Yeah, T hull resistance. So let me show you different ships. Do we blah, blah, blah. Yes, or as said, that's the mining barges. You have 3 of them. So Procurer and the how is it mixed? Procurer and the Skiff. That's the tanky version. The Mackinac and the Retriever. That's the one with the more ore hold storage. And the Corvette and the Hulk are the powerhouses, so they mine the most. And then you have specialized frigates, which can cloak and be used for gas huffing or mining in critical areas. On the bottom, I said the ore hauler, but this actually is a salvager, so you salvage wrecks with that, and from there you actually use the porpoise for boosting or the orca for boosting your mining fleet, as well as supporting with compression and whatever. And the Rockwell, of course, as the capital ship, does everything better as the ships below, but also is more worth and also attracts more targets. But is the niche solution for fitted ships to transport. I used it once, but maybe it comes handy if you have very expensive rigs, and also some people from the high-sec incursion used to haul their ships with that, because it's kind of tanky. So, what else do we need to look? Yeah, so, of course, there are nations. The Sunshine Nations have their own super carrier. Angel Cartel got an Asriel, the Serpentis got actually like the Dreadnought, they got an Super Carry Vendetta, and also they got blessed with an Titan, so the Vanquisher. And I think, wait, is it Goristas? Gorista line as well. They have the Kaiman, which is a threat which had carrier abilities. Then we have a Loggerhead, which is like a faction fax, and also here we have a Titan, faction Titan, which does more damage, looks more fancy, and is awesome. And that's the ship classes. I mean, yeah, Triglavian, that's the deep dive Triglavian. They also have their single line, they have their special ships. They have an T2 and T1 logistic ships, which have a unique ability in wrapping. They're spooling up, so keep that in mind on the cruiser size. And, as all of the weapon of the Triglavian spools, the Dreadnought is actually the ship with the most damage in the game. Also it means in the game. On the threats, I mean, Titan is still more. And then we need to look at the Edencom ships, because these are the ones which have the chain lightning gun, so they do like an RE damage. That's also unique, beside the smart bombs. Here we may get new ships, or was it this one? Ah, it's for this one. Here, this is the Society of Considered Sword stuff. That's the special ships we always get. But here also, this is the destroyer size, this is a battle cruiser, and this is a battleship, so they stick to the line. Yeah, and that's the explanation to the ship classes. That's the hauler section. We can do the hauler section, but we do it with Galente. So if you go from the Corvette to the bottom to the shuttle with traveling and everything, and you continue going, you come to the haulers, which are like medium size, but actually you can hit them like a battle cruiser, and they don't have much tank. Galente has for every kind of usage their own hauler. So the Epitel is for PI, the Kyros is for ice and minerals, blah blah blah, you name it. And the Iteron was long time the T1 mastermind of cargo hauling, because it's super huge and you can actually overextend the cargo expanders. So, and then we have the Viator and the Orcator. So we have the Blockade Runner and the Deep Space Hauler. The Blockade Runner is used for small, high valuable stuff and it's nearly uncatchable. And the Orcator is used for more heavy stuff, but is also catchable. And beside that, the Viator can warp Cloaky. This one can't, but can relay on the MVD cloak trick. Then you always see this one, this means you need Omega. So for the biggest hauling ships we have in game, there is the Freighter, which has the biggest cargo hold. Keep in mind, I will jump over to Edencom, there's also a hauler. So there's a Freighter, can't jump, only warps, only have low slots. If you have enough numbers, you can kill it in high sec, we call it gank. If you don't want to be ganked, you take the Jump Freighter, which costs... How often does the 2 mil go into the 9 mil? 5 times if it's 10. It costs 5 times much as the Ansha. So for this you have the ability to jump around to Sinos and just safe dock, which makes you harder to gank. But it has a smaller cargo hold, so this one can like, I think 1 million, a little bit more. This one is capped to like 300,000 plus, 320,000, maybe a little bit more if you use faction cargos. Anyway, there is the Edencom one, which is the Avalanche. And also the Squall and the Torrent and the Deluge, which have a huge bay for space stuff, Athanors, structures, everything you name it, you can haul there. And this is well for the Avalanche, it's also a very big bay. And also these are the only haulers which have a decent PvP capability or a defending capability or a shooting capability. I don't know what to name it. Just a shout out to the Squall in the last AT because of the less points. This one is like with Ham, decent 300 to 400 DPS ship, which yeah, you don't expect. And yeah, the Avalanche. So we have the halls, we have DAS. Keep in mind that there are like AT ships sprinkled in, which are not listed here because they are AT ships. They are super special, super unique, and if you engage them, make sure you know what you do. Okay, that's the ship classes. If you want to know more about deep diving ship classes, pick a ship, something you want to know. For example, the bomber. There is a lot more to know about them. They have a bonus on torpedoes. Actually, there's a battleship size gun on a frigate. They can have a bomb launcher. Wait, 2 fingers. They can have a bomb launcher, so you can launch bombs. They can cloak and warp. They can be jumped by the Black Ops battleships. And they actually the native enemy of battleships and dreadnoughts and supercarriers and titans and everything which is big. And yeah, on the other side, the purifier or bombers are on the dinner plate of all the other ships here, because everybody wants to snack a bomber, and they are like the tiniest glass cannons we have in this game. So if you don't cloak in time, everybody will shoot you and you explode. Okay, that's 26 minutes for ship classes. I only was expecting to do like 10. That went a little bit longer than I expected. Ooh. Okay, I will do some sectioning so you can go into the sections and click it. On the other side, just use that as a kind of a small, nice podcast running in the background, somebody explaining you the ship classes. And especially if you are very new to EVE, you will not have any idea I talked about. You like, yes, I can fly a cruiser. That's it. With meta guns. And even what I said right now, you like, ship, yes, meta guns, no idea what he's talking about, no worries. You will get it. So, fly safe. This is Kane Carnifex for Just About Rewards. Have fun. Take it easy.